My newlywed wife cheated, so I left her homeless. So, my now ex-wife Amanda and I had been together for a couple of years, and we got married about 3 weeks ago. Everything was great, or so I thought. I genuinely loved her and believed that she felt the same way about me. A few days ago, I found out that she had been cheating on me for 7 months leading up to our wedding. Yup, you read that right. 7 freaking months. The kicker, I found out 2 weeks into our marriage. How did I find out, you might ask? Well, that's where the story really begins. Steve is one of my best friends, and he had been suspicious of Amanda for a while. He's a private investigator, and his instincts are usually spot on. He caught her in several small lies just in regular conversations they would have when we were all together with friends, and he really believed that something more was up. So, he offered to do a little digging for me, just to put my mind at ease. I didn't want to believe that Amanda could be cheating on me, but the doubts were starting to eat away at me, so I agreed. Steve did some investigating and discovered that Amanda had been seeing this guy Chad behind my back. Chad was apparently some coworker of hers. He found evidence of their affair, including text messages, photos, and even a secret email account they used to communicate. When Steve showed me the evidence, I was devastated. I couldn't believe that the woman I had just married could betray me like this. I knew I had to do something, but I didn't want to confront her just yet. I was pissed and wanted to get revenge. I mean, this was ridiculous, so I was going to be ridiculous right back. A few days later, Amanda mentioned that her girlfriends had been asking her to go out of town with them for a weekend trip to the city, but that she wasn't going to go. So I strongly encouraged her to go, saying she deserved a break after all the wedding planning. Little did she know that I had my own plans for that weekend. The day she left for her trip, I got to work. I called our landlord and told him I wanted to cancel our lease immediately. I made up some believable story about a job transfer and a family emergency. He was sympathetic and agreed to let me out of the lease. Next, I rented a storage unit and hired a moving company to come and pack up all of Amanda's belongings. I spent the entire weekend making sure that every trace of her was removed from the apartment. I didn't leave a single item behind. It was tough, but it was what I needed to do. I couldn't let her get away with what she had done to me. When everything was packed up and stored away, I called Steve and asked if I could crash at his place for a few days until I found another apartment. He was more than happy to help. I moved all of my stuff into his spare room and settled in. I didn't tell anyone else where I was going, not even my family. I was too angry and embarrassed to tell them what had happened at the time. On Sunday, the day Amanda was due to return from her trip, I waited anxiously for her to call. It was late in the evening when my phone finally rang. I'll never forget the sound of her voice when she said, "What the hell happened to our apartment?" I played dumb, of course. "What do you mean?" I asked, feigning confusion. "The locks have been changed, and all of my stuff is gone. Where the hell is all my stuff?" she demanded. "I don't know," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. "I've been out of town for a work thing. I thought you were with your friends for the weekend." She started to panic, saying things like, "This doesn't make any sense. You didn't say you had a work thing. And where could our stuff be? Did we get robbed?" I let her ramble for a bit before I finally cut her off and said, "Well, maybe you should call Chad and see if he knows anything." There was a long pause on the other end of the line. I could practically hear the gears turning in her head as she realized that I knew about her affair. Finally, she whispered, "How did you find out?" "Steve helped me," I replied, not bothering to hide the bitterness in my voice. "He's a good friend, unlike some people I know." Amanda started crying and apologizing, saying she never meant for any of this to happen. She tried to tell me that it was just a mistake, that she still loved me and wanted to work things out. But it was too late for that. She had made her choice, and now she was facing the consequences. I told her that I had canceled our lease and put all her stuff in a storage unit. I gave her the address and the code to access it. I didn't want to leave her completely stranded, after all. But as for our marriage, that was over. I wasn't going to let her walk all over me like that. Amanda begged me to reconsider, but I told her to kiss it. She then began crying, asking me where she was supposed to live now. I told her that I didn't care and that deserved better than what she had done to me, and I hung up the phone. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, but I knew it was the right choice. She ended up having to move back in with her parents until she could find her own place again. What an idiot. Her dad reached out to me, apologizing for what had happened. He was super upset with her, and he was also super upset that he had spent $30,000 on a wedding just for it all to go to waste, not to mention the embarrassment the family now had to deal with. Yeah, it must suck for them. Sheesh. Anyway, I haven't heard from her since, and I don't plan on reaching out to her anytime soon. I've started the process of filing for divorce and have been focusing on rebuilding my life without her. It's been a tough journey, but I know I'll come out stronger on the other side. That was intense. Do you think he did the right thing? 7 months is a long time to lie like that. Should he have taken it further? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. When you subscribe, be sure to click the notification bell. Click here for more Tangled threads.